Welcome back to Jungle Gap. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're back with another Inside the Mind of a Challenger Jungler, where I'm going to be breaking down my thought process on a Taliyah game I played. It was around High Emerald MMR, but what we're really going to be focusing on is how to play towards these mage junglers identities, where they're kind of weak early, but then as you can see, they kind of pop off in the late game. Once you get items, you kind of just snowball really fast, you farm really fast. In this game in particular, my champion was really good into the enemy team, and that's kind of why I picked it. So also, where you can pick Taliyah, but obviously we're going to be going through all the fundamentals. So if you play champions like this video is for you. So let's get started. Coach Leo here. Quickly before the video begins, I wanted to share a quick announcement that I have joined the Jungle Academy. If you're not sure what it is, basically the Avengers of coaches have come together. Other jungle coaches such as Kirei, Perry Jungle, a few others have come together, and basically, I wouldn't be trying to sell you guys on a product that I didn't really think was insane in terms of its value. But essentially, quickly wanted to go through some of the things that you can get by joining the Academy. The first thing is obviously a bunch of resources, little exercises, things like that. You also have the VOD library, which all the VODs kind of get uploaded. So if you're ever wondering, how do I play Rengar? I'm an Emerald player. I want to know how to play Rengar. You can just go on all of these and, have a look at that. But the most important thing is obviously here in the calendar, which is the group coaching sessions. You're 100% guaranteed to have your VOD reviewed. And as you can see here, it's running daily sessions. Mine is, if you want to come to my sessions on Thursday, you can see here all the different coaches and which days they are coaching and the time zone. And so yeah, if this is something that interests you, link will be in the description below. I hope to see you guys all in the Jungle Academy. So as we load in, of course, we want to talk about our plan. And so in this game, right, the way I'm thinking is, of course, where can I get a kill, but also where can the enemy jungler invade me? That's something that you really have to be conscious of when you play these junglers, because making sure that you have a good start, a good kind of structured game is very important to these kinds of champions' identity, right? So you're thinking about, where can I get a kill? Where do we think the action's going to be? So you're still, you don't want to be completely AFK, but you really want to have a good early game where you don't get invaded, you don't get killed, you don't have to blow your flash. All of these things we want to avoid. So what are ways we're going to do that? We'll talk about that in the first clear. But in this game, obviously the bot matchup, very nuclear. Top lane is also pretty gankable for me, seeing as I have a Tahm Kench. So, something I always talk about, where can I get a kill? That's the first question. That's going to be to do with volatility. That's going to be to do with gank setup, and that's going to be to do with enemies mobility. So these three categories is a way that you can kind of figure out, okay, where do I want to path towards? Where is most likely going to have a chance for me to get a kill? If we look at top, volatility is going to be a lot. Double, melee fighting champions. Gank setup, Tahm Kench is really good. Enemies mobility is also pretty good, so that gets an X, right? He has his W. So as for mid, another crazy lane. Volatility is going to be insane. Gank setup is going to be really good. Her mobility is going to be good as well, right? She can Q around. She can kind of dodge around our abilities, but our champion also counters her. So mid is also a very good option. And then bot lane as well. Volatility is insane. Gank setup is pretty good. Mobility is pretty good because they have Lantern. So as you can see, this game, there's a lot going on, right? How does Taliyah, a champion that wants to kind of chill, how does she fit into all this? How does she fit into a game that's seeming like it's going to be extremely fast paced? And, just like, the usual mindset, we're always having the mindset of farm and pick up kills where we can. So your awareness, even though you're a farming champion, is still going to be important, which I'll highlight as we watch. So let's get into it. All right. So first of all, first fundamental, I'm not going to try and skip around the video too much. I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to talk while it's happening. So first fundamental is always pathing out a base to this spot. Whether you're on either side, you always want to come here. This is the first thing, because you want to guard any invade. Ideally, everyone stands like a wall covering every entrance. This didn't happen this game. My Volibear is doing well, I guess, to cover this. Not well. Yeah, he's doing really good. And you know, I would like to get a ward. So I'm trying to ping my team. And this is what I always kind of tell my, the students that I coach. Try and ping your team to help you ward. But the other big fundamental I've just seen, mute all, right? I kind of forgot, but then people start typing and it kind of reminded me. Free kills perma mid. Like, mid is just free kills. Even though, like, he's right? I want to make sure that I'm not listening to anyone else's, you know, pings or, you know, I want to be fully locked into my own game. If I make a mistake, it's going to be on me because I wasn't aware of something. So I want to hold full accountability. Mute all is really good. If you want to have pings, you can do mute all and then mute pings all. But in this game, this is also Emerald. I've been playing a couple of games in Emerald already. It's pretty bad in terms of, you know, people's egos and people's mental. So mute all was really, really nice to have this game. You know, it's also nice because, you know, you want to really make sure you don't get sucked into plays and then you have to burn flash and then you die. So mute all, very important. Very, very important fundamental. So here I'm thinking about where I'm going to use my trinket, right? And because I know Lee Sin has two different ways he can invade. He can do Raptor invade to my blue, and he can also do 3 camp to my red. So these are 2 possible outcomes, or these are the 2 most common invades, right, that you're going to face. Now, the first way I counter the first invade is just simply by holding my smite. Obviously, I don't have 2 wards, so usually I would ward here if I wasn't afraid of this invade, right? But in this case, I'm just going to hold my smite in case he tries to invade me after Raptors. If he were to invade me here, right, either it would come down to a smite fight or I would just get forced out, but at least then I would sell up my smite for the wolf camp. And then that invade becomes a lot less worth it for Lee Sin because now he's just only done Gromp and he has to come back for his red. So he's kind of running around the map and I'm just pathing down, farming efficiently, even though he potentially gets 1 camp. In terms of how many camps we total at the end, it's going to be pretty similar. And we really want to make sure we keep this structure, this cycle, these camps cycling up because that's very important to our game. When you do play mage junglers, it's really important that you have a, you know, an income, a consistent income like this. And you make sure you're keeping your tempo. You're always on Gromp, which we'll talk about when we get there. Keeping good tempo and then using and playing with your spare tempo. Very important on these kinds of champions, you know. And so anyway, you know, when you're walking between lanes, having little camera pans like this, even though we're playing a farming jungler, I always, so you don't have to go crazy on camera pans, right? Make sure the camera pan, there's a reason for it, right? Don't just camera pan because you're doing fundamentals. You need to camera pan for a reason. You need to say, okay, I'm looking here because after my wolves, am I going to go and gank Aurelia right now, right? There needs to be, am I going to go gank bot right now? I'm trying to get the information to decide, okay, am I going to continue doing Raptors? Or is this mid gank high enough chance where I can get a kill? And remember, when you play these kinds of champions, this is kind of to all champions, but you always want to make sure it's guaranteed. So for example, if I went, Aurelia doesn't have flash in this case. If I went to gank mid and I just burned her flash, to me, this is not worth it because I don't think her flash is worth 2 camps. And I don't think her flash is also worth me being in a position where if I show ganking mid, Lee Sin's now saying, oh, hello, I'm going to invade you on your red now, right? That's not worth it to me. So if it's 100% kill, that's okay, right? Lee Sin can maybe get your Raptors or you have to base and you lose 1 camp. But it needs to be 100% a kill. So as we can see here, we keep just farming down. So next way, I counter the other play, right? I counter Lee Sin's invade like this. So I'm expecting maybe he can do this, right? So what I want to do is actually skip red and just do my Krug straight away. What this will do is if he does want to invade me here, he's just going to be sitting in this bush, you know, AFK, while I've done 5 camps. What else this ward does is it kind of gives your laners more, you know, they'll want to move to counter this guy more if they actually see him, right? They're not going to move if they don't see him because just like how you have tempo, they also have tempo. They can't afford to just leave lane and help you out. There needs to be a strong reason for it. Okay, so again, I'm on my red and I'm looking at mid. I'm gathering information. The map is giving me prompts. So for example, when mid laners, or when mid lane in this case, when 2 icons are just clashing together and his health bar is dropping, This is like, you can see this as like a prompt for you then to move your camera here and check out what's going on. Because again, we're trying to, jungling is about farming efficiently, collecting information, and deciding what you're going to do in advance. So here in advance, I'm thinking, okay, after this red, do I want to run into the Lee Sin, because I don't know where Lee Sin is, right? Do I want to run in here to potentially to the Lee Sin when they have bot push? When my Volibear, although he killed Aurelia, he wants to base. So he's not going to help you on the bot scuttle either. I would much rather, right, just do this. And again, of course, I have no idea where Lee Sin is right now. He could be pulling to top. He could be pulling to bot. So it is kind of the same thing, but I think the threat of Thresh killing me and moving, as you can see here, he's even... You know, there's some good signs that I feel like Lee Sin is bot side. So I do start to ping it. I do start to think, oh, you know, Thresh is kind of leaning. He did also just, I think him leaning was just warding. So when I'm playing these farming junglers, I'm thinking, okay, let's trade. Match or trade is a fundamental we're going to be talking about this game because it's very, very important on these kinds of junglers. And now as we see, Lee Sin has taken the scuttle. So in this case, right, my Gromp is spawning at 415. And this is what's important about keeping good tempo, right? I want to always be back at this Gromp every single time it spawns because it starts my entire cycle of camps. So in this case, I don't really want to overstay for Gromp here because I have time. It's efficient for me to just base. And then ride the wall up. I'm here on spawn. So everything's good. I'm keeping good tempo. As you're running out, right, I call this my weak side because these are my weak side camps. So this is my weak side lane. As you're running out of base, you want to see, is this guy killable on my weak side? And it kind of looks like he is right now, right? Obviously, he still has flash. What I didn't realize here is that TK actually DC'd. So that's a bit unfortunate. You have to be really, really careful about your weak side timer. If you try and gank on your weak side timer and they have flash, it's going to be, you know, a bit of a snowball effect to your game. Luckily, in this case, I was kind of just thinking, okay, my top DC'd, I kind of just want this cannon minion. If this W didn't land, I'll just back out and I'll just go back to my Gromp. Not too bad, right? Obviously, I'm also kind of messing up this guy's wave, but, you know, he DC'd and he made me waste my time. So then we just go for the solo kill. Luckily, we get it and we get his flash, which is very nice. And then, you know, of course, I'll take some more CS. Not my problem, he DC'd. So... Now, in this case, because I use that extra time topside, if I actually go back here, because I use this extra time topside on my weak side, it's really important that you try and cover your bot side camps because Lee Sin should think, because we knew Lee Sin is piling up, after his wolves, he sees me top, he should think here, I want to invade this. So, obviously, I'm not in the greatest situation to actually cross. That's the sacrifice I made to go for the Wukong kill and the wave. Luckily, in this case, right, pinging and communicating what I want actually kind of blocks the Lee Sin here from going for a Raptor. So communicate what you need. You know, they'll not always listen, of course. I know that. But in 5 out of 10 games or 4 out of 10 games, they will. If I was healthy there, I would have crossed straight to my Raptors and gone to my top side. You basically want to be on your strong side as your Raptors are spawning, right? Because you do not want the situation to happen where I go top, I kill, but then I want to full clear down, right? But then Lee Sin takes this, and then is able to impact bot first. I don't want that to happen. All right, so same thing. Camera panning, looking at plays. Before I go for the next camp, I'm thinking, okay, should I kill mid or should I do Raptors? Luckily, I mean, also in this case, it was just like a, you know, a drive-by, which is what we love, what we like to do. Make sure you get every single CS. Every little gold, every little bit matters. So, you know, I'm also thinking about lane CS a lot as well. I'm thinking, you know, obviously I'm not going to prioritize lane CS over my camps. I'll try and get both. So I'll get the wave and then I'll get my camps. I won't just randomly go to a lane, right, and take CS in front of my laner. I'm doing everything. Everything is smooth. Everything is efficient. I ding level 6. Again, map awareness. Am I going to go to Krugs or is there a play? Enemy bot lane's just too far pushed up. Pyke makes a really, really good flash. Kind of thinking that Jinx is going to flash here. So we pick up some kills. And this is kind of, you know, was about to be my spare tempo. So what I mean by spare tempo is when you full clear down, you're going to have like some time before your Gromp starts spawning. And I know kind of in my head here that my Gromp is still 40 seconds, right? My blue is spawning, but my Gromp, my round is not complete. So I actually just use this time to do my Krugs. There's nothing I can really take on the bot side. Couldn't take Dragon. My bot lane wants to reset. So actually I just used my extra time here to just take Krugs. Now this wasn't because I needed an item or anything. It's just because, as you can see when I path out a base here, now my Grump's spawning. So you always want to, you don't want to have too good tempo where like I take blue here and I'm just waiting for Gromp, right? I don't want that. I want everything to be maximized efficiency, right? That's what we're looking for. So simple, right? Simple cycle I have going now. Full clear down, use my spare tempo bot, repeat. Full clear down, use my spare tempo bot, repeat. Path to Gromp, look at the weak side lane. Is it killable 100%? No. Full clear down, repeat. Is my Volibear going bot? Can I get a few extra CS mid? Yes. Okay, go take that, then go back to top side. Full clear down. And now, just full clearing down again. I am still watching top, but this time, right? This time when I'm deciding, oh, should I go top? I'm thinking, well, it's not guaranteed that I actually kill this Wukong. He kind of just seems like he's just shitting on my my TK. So I don't go for it. It's not my spare tempo. It's not like if I had just full cleared to top, I would go for it because it's time that it's spare time that I'm not losing out on anything. Here again, right? This is how, when you watch challenger players and when you watch really good junglers, they're able just to maximize their farms so much by just doing these kinds of plays. Do Raptors, then mid. Make everything efficient. Kind of being a little inefficient here, but obviously I only have red to do. Not really much to do. So I'm just putting some pressure. I'm about to exit. I'm kind of looking for a kill. And I actually think I remember this. I really wanted to look for the kill here. It was very, very, very close. Unfortunately. Yep. And so yeah, I went for a kill that wasn't really high percentage, which did waste some time. It kind of stopped my cycle. So if I were to replay this again, obviously nothing is going to, you do want to find moments where you think that you can get it. And this is the most difficult part about jungling. Knowing what is high percentage, knowing what isn't. But the tempo and spare tempo concept is a good way to help with that. All right. So now we just have to path straight to our strong side, right? Unfortunately, which is okay. Which is okay. It is what it is, right? Don't again, run to your Gromp here and wait for it for 30 seconds just because you want to keep up that cycle pathing into bot. That's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just find something to do on the bot side. Go take Scuttle. Or simply just path up now. It is what it is. And so we see Lee Sin top. We see Aurelia hovering bot. I'm starting to think, is this a dive? I'm starting to think, okay, the wave is kind of dying here, so it doesn't really look like a dive. Lee Sin still top. Volibear is now, I see him on the map coming down, so I'm thinking, okay, this could be a dive. He doesn't have ult, but if we just sit behind tower, so this is when, when I have my one item spike, when I have 6 Darksteel stacks, I can just sit behind them and literally throw Qs, right? If no one is coming to save them, they will eventually die. I played this really, really kind of badly. So if I actually replay this again, you don't want to use your abilities until, right? So if you have, this is why Taliyah, Nidalee, these kinds of champions, it's very important that you pair your CC with this stun, right? So if you have a Nautilus, if you have a Leona, it's really, really important. You hold your W, wait for them to throw an ability. You can throw Qs, right? But don't throw your W like this. Don't go for the low percentage W because they can dodge it, right? It still works out, just not as clean as what we wanted. So now, I see Lee Sin show top. I'm not going to be able to actually contest the grubs yet. So I'm just looking for his camps. I'm looking for Gromp. I'm looking for bot Scuttle. Because we just used our move bot. Running straight to the grubs here is super int, obviously, because he has more numbers. We're not stronger. We only want to match when we're stronger. We want to trade when we're weaker. And in this case, we're weaker because we have less numbers. And so, this is important here that, before you go to Scuttle, right, after this bot dive, you don't want to go to Scuttle here. You want to take his camps first and work from back to front. take the furthest thing first, then come backwards, because if I took Scuttle here, Lee Sin's or Thresh is going to be chasing my tail, so to speak. So that's very important. And now, because we killed Aurelia, now I am kind of trying to match. Again, still too late. Here, I think that me and Pyke are fast enough to catch the Wukong, which we end up not, I do believe. I think we get his flash. Okay. So we get to take his flash. I have my Pyke here, right? So I want to use that fact. Aurelia is still dead. I want to use the fact that I have Pyke here. And I'm kind of just thinking, well, he was on Grubs. His topside might be up. So we look for another play. You know, you really want to abuse when you have numbers. When your Pyke is roaming, Vayne is losing something right now. So we kind of need to get something from Pyke's roam. And then another fundamental, make sure you're basing and you know what you're going to buy. So, you know, if I needed 200 gold here, I wouldn't base it. I would go and take Rom, take Wolves, whatever I need. Right? If I needed it for Liandry's. But since I have Liandry's here, we base straight away. Okay, so next round, we're running out of base. We're thinking here. So when there's nothing up, when there's no objectives up, obviously farming is always going to be a thing on your mind. But you do want to play for like the next objective. And the next objective here that's spawning, I believe, is the Rift. So it's always good to have something you're playing for. Whether that's a tower, whether that's a dragon, whether that's a Rift. This is going to keep you from autopiloting. This is going to keep you from, you know, kind of just floating around the map, not really knowing what you're doing. And so I'm really strong here. So I try and go for a play. I think this was one of my biggest mistakes this game, which is just, you know, I kind of felt like, you know, my team just died. And this is a very common thing, right? That we feel like we need to compensate. We feel like we need to do something. And unfortunately, I just get threshed here. They all show up. It's a very silly mistake. A very, very silly mistake. In these situations, all you want to do is, okay, let's go for the flick, but let's not kind of commit to the kill. Right here, I just put myself in a position to get hooked. Let's just clear the wave and make sure we minimize, right? Something that's really important is that you minimize when your team ints. Make sure you get your top side, right? Do it safely, because they have numbers. But yeah, silly mistake. And those kinds of mistakes, you know, in this game, I kind of need to perform pretty well to carry, right? Because the game is losing. My team is losing. You know, I don't even know. I think my TK is like 0-5 right now. Volibear's doing okay, right? Botlane's doing okay. But the score is 12-14 and I have 4 kills. So in games where you need to go above and beyond, it's really important that you get to that point we saw in the intro of you just kind of carrying fights. That's what we're trying to get to. And at this point, when we have 2 items, we're going to start to see how much farm you can do. So here, out of base, just farming. We're going to be talking about uptime, downtime. So this is when to farm, when to play with your team, when to farm, when to group. You know, I'm walking. So my intention here is not to kind of like go mid to make a play. I'm always farming camps and reacting and having awareness of what's going on. So I'm farming. Oh, Vayne gets hooked. Okay, react. Or Vayne's about to get hooked, or Vayne's about to get engaged on. Okay, react. Right? And so a little bit of a skirmish happens here. Whether or not we get kills here or not, I'm going to be able to get the wave, which is good for me. This Thresh has got the moves. We're kind of egoing each other. And so I don't think... Okay, yeah, we get like 1 kill. What's really, really important as well when you're playing these champions, this is kind of for every jungler as well. Surviving is really good because you get to see, as I'm doing right now, you get to farm. You get to farm even more. So when your team dies, right? Now, I'm not saying you need to be a KDA player. Of course, dying when you know, dying is going to be a part of the game. And you know, there are good deaths or there are worth deaths. But as you can see, when you survive, you get to farm more. Because when you're dying, you're actually just getting weak when you're dead. I have flash here. This is kind of like a in-the-moment play. I thought I also had a 1200 smite. We still end up getting the dragon. A bit crazy. I really wanted... So the point of this play in my mindset was I really didn't want to give them a really fast soul. Because I knew our late game was going to be... Well, at least for me, I knew late game was going to be insane. Right? So taking dragon is kind of slowing down their ability to force us to come and fight them. You know, when it comes to third dragon, you're kind of forced to fight the enemy. And the quicker that they can make that happen, the better it is for their chance of winning the game. So here, we're going for a play. We have nothing else to do. Aurelia has like a billion tenacity. I think she has like Mercs and Wit's End. So, I mean, this was a really close play as well. Honestly, I think if I didn't get that kill, you know, between me and Aurelia carrying, it gives Aurelia a chance. So that kill was actually really, really crazy. I didn't realize that she had Mercs and Wit's End. If I knew that, I think I probably wouldn't have gone for this play. Because, you know, obviously, if Volibear gets the stun, it's a pretty high percentage that he can just stun into my W, right? We wait for the CC. So, a little bit lucky, I would say. But now the game's mine, right? Now I just know that the game's over, right? At this point, I know that unless my team turns their monitors off, I know that I can carry this game. My champion, again, like I said, is really good into enemy champions. Again, right? When I'm pathing out a base here, a mistake I see really, really often is you feel like you have to come with, like, you know, you need to join your team here. This is the too common of a mistake. Oh, my team is fighting mid, I have to go join them. The right idea, especially again for these farming junglers, because you are so quick, you have Blue Smite, you can take the Gromp. The ideal situation, you farm, you clean up. And because you clean up, people are dead, you get to farm more. This is the ideal situation. I know it sounds kind of like, well, you know, you're kind of just chaosing or whatever, but that seriously is what it is. This is how you carry on these champions. You never want to really put yourself in a position to die, to burn flash, because you're playing a mage. Staying alive is really important. And you know, and a bit about Taliyah, how you want to play these fights. The reason why Taliyah is so good in this game is because they have so many dashing champions. So if I just put my E down and play range, essentially just super, super strong. And so here, another situation, right, where we win a fight, and I'm looking at, okay, what can I take? I want to take something. I noticed that he has a red buff, so I'm thinking, okay, his bot side must be up. So I immediately run to the bot side. I want to farm. While they're doing whatever they're doing mid, I want to farm. I'm going to back ping them, right? I'm going to tell them what I'm doing, but I'm not going to go hit mid with them. So if they want to die mid, sure, I'll have a bigger uptime. And yeah, you got to be a little bit careful about some of these downtime situations. So here, I think I just got a bit emotional, honestly, and I ulted in. You want to make sure in your downtime that you're a little bit careful of throwing, which I think I die again in a second. So sometimes, right, it's good to be greedy, right? But there's a level to the greediness. So going for his bot side camps was really good. Staying for the kill, whatever, like let him get scuttle. I think that because they're spawning out of base, right? So, and I think this is here where I make the mistake. It is good to push limits of counter jungling, right? Again, because I am Taliyah, because I can farm so quickly, I can just WQ smite this. However, unfortunately, I ran over a ward, and so Aurelia, I think she TP'd, or maybe she was just running bot. Second massive mistake. I've given 2 kills to the Aurelia, which is kind of like the guy that's playing well or doing well on the enemy team. You know, I was a bit annoyed at myself for making a mistake like this. But I also decided that this was a good example of the counter jungle was good on the blue side at the start. You should look to take camps when enemies are dead. When enemies start spawning, you need to then go take your jungle or base and sync your base with your team. So at least we get an example out of it. And now, let's see what happens next. There's a fight happening mid. It's super, super bad. My team ints. I'm looking again to minimize. I don't want to all in here. I'm not going to ever, you know, again, I think I'm just misclicking on so many grubs here. Not very good for my champion. But again, when you get to this point as Taliyah, right? So strong into their champs, so strong into diving champs, so strong into dashing champs. They overplay it. So remember as well, like enemies will not play perfectly. If I had just kept my nerve this entire game without those deaths, right? Again, there's no way I can lose this game. Because enemies will make mistakes. So even when your team keeps dying, keeps throwing, guess what? Enemy is going to do the same thing. So you need to be ready for that. And the way you be ready for that is not the deaths that I had. You know, I played well this game, but this is Emerald. So, you know, hold yourself to a high level. Be critical, not in-game, of your mistakes after the game. In the game, don't dwell. Just think, what's next? What's next? I died, what's next? How do we do that different next time if it's a team fight? Notice this Jinx running from vision. She's kind of like scripting or something. I don't know. She was paying attention. But then again, this is another team fight where it just showcases the power of my pick this game. Just really good into these champions. You know, when I get to this point, right, you can even see here, did I even base? I have like 3k gold. Okay, I definitely should have based here as well. So after Blue Gromp, I should base and run. But obviously, I'm just feeling like this is another level of that greed. 100% I should have based here, but this is what you can kind of see it as an example of. You want to take your greediness. You want to farm it all. You want to take blue side. Instead of basing, I want to take my blue side and just be on time for the dragon anyway to do this. So again, there's a level of, should I greed? Should I base? That's just something that you're going to have to practice over time. But greeding is good. Greeding is good. You just got to know when to do it. Okay, so we get the dragon. Now I'm basing finally. So, you know, I didn't want to... I want to be able to match my team's tempo. Coming at a base here. Fight happening top. In the moment, I was thinking, okay, this looks really bad because our Vayne is in base. And I'm thinking here, okay, you know, I'm already thinking ahead that if they die here, Baron is gone and I should start to trade on the opposite side. This is what I'm thinking already here. Like, okay, Baron's gone, I need to start to trade. And again, this is another skill. It's like, you see, I even click here, but then I'm like, oh, hell, hold up. They killed Aurelia. So then I changed my mind immediately. And we get involved in the fight. Again, same way we're playing. We're just keeping our range. I thought Wukong was going to ult. So yeah, I flash preemptively to make sure I don't get comboed by Wukong. And again, it's really unplayable for the enemy. Thresh gets out. Immediately pinging the Baron, right? So when you're having a game like this as well, what's nice about being in this commanding position is that people are more likely to listen to your pings, right? I've talked to a lot of students I've coached. Yes, they say, oh, people never listen. And that's true. People don't listen very much. But when you are doing really well, something I've noticed as well, is that people do tend to listen to you more. At this point in the game, I turned mute all off. Don't really feel like I'm going to be affected by, people's influence anymore. I don't feel like I'm going to be affected by that. And so actually at this point, I actually DC'd for like 30 seconds and my team died again. Right after we got Baron. So I DC'd, come back, still, right? I DC'd. So I'm feeling like I really want to ult in here, but then I realize I'm like, hold up. No need. I don't have flash. Ulting in is super in. I'm still going to win this game. And so this is just closing the game out now. Waiting for everyone to come back on the map. So this is what I like to call down tempo. It's about to be up tempo. So after red, I'm going to join my team in the bot side here. I'm going to start pinging what we're playing for. So, you know, it'd be super, super troll for me to go farm my top side here, for example. Because we want to match the tempo line of our team. We want to be instead farming his camps. And then because we are in proximity, we can be involved in the plays. So, right, that was, again, I'm going to replay it one more time because uptime, downtime is so important. Right here. This is downtime. This is downtime because I don't want to go and push right now, even though I have Baron. It's not, the team's tempo lines are all over the place, right? Everyone has different tempo lines. So if we were to push bot right now, me and the Volibear, you know, Vayne and TK are too far to help. But as soon as everyone's tempo lines sync up, so I'm still waiting, and boom, we're all synced up. We're all on this line, which is uptime now. Now we want to go in the jungle, get vision, kill Thresh, all these kinds of things. There we go. Kill the Thresh. Notice that the Jinx is low. Play it safe. Dodge some abilities. Still have Zhonya's, so we're okay. And that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, able to take something from it to apply in your own games. Let me know in the comments below what kind of champions, what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. And I hope to see you guys all in future videos.